Hello! So today I'm going to show you something. I get asked this all of the time. How do I do my makeup? And how do I transform this to look, like my finished makeup? And I know that right now my face is super shiny right now, glowy. It's because I've already done my setting spray. So I'm going to give you a couple tips using what you have. You don't have to buy any new makeup. I'm just going to use some tips that you can use that will help rather than doing all over foundation, you've got to contour because the contour is going to bring your face up. So whether no matter what kind of makeup you have, I have spent it all on all different kinds of makeup. And I think the biggest area that a lot of people, especially mature skin, 40 and older, that they complain about is the under eyes. And that's my biggest thing. It makes me crazy. And that and marionette lines. So what I want to do is show you how to do a couple tricks to do that. This is such a sensitive area. So the first tip I'm going to give you is make sure that if you're going to moisturize and do an eye cream, make sure you do that and let that set for at least 20 minutes. Because other than that, if you don't do that, then your whole makeup's going to slide down your face. So that's the first thing. Now this other thing is definitely preference. It's I do my eyes first. And the reason why I do my eyes first is because I don't want under here, whether it be my eyeshadow or whatever, I want to be able to have this clean and not have any fallout from my eyes. And my eyelashes are so hard. I've done them for a while, but I've not perfected it. So I want to make sure I get my whole eye done and then do the rest. So these are already done. So I'm not going to take my time. I'm not going to take time on this to do eyes because eyes, I think, are just kind of, I can teach you one thing. The one thing I can show you with eyes is make sure that if you're doing your eyeliner that you kind of angle it up because we don't want anything dropping. So we want everything to kind of go up. So, especially if you have hooded eyes, and I have hooded eyes. So I'm going to do my eyes first and then I'm going to come back and show you how to do the contouring. But if you have any questions about your eyes, please ask me. Again, I am not I don't do makeup on other people. I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out my issues out, and I think that I can help you with the makeup that you have. I'm going to be using a series of different things, but I'm going to give you several options to use so it's something that's in your own makeup that you can find what you want to use. So I'm going to hurry and do my eye, and I'll be back. Okay, one thing I forgot to say. If you are using fake lashes and you just got them out of the box, so I'm using a new set. I can usually use my lashes for a couple days. But the first thing I do while I'm waiting to get ready is I put them, because they're kind of already sticky, I wrap them around like a marker or even one of your brush sticks or something but this, I'm trying to get them to get shape. And so I try to move them, and that is really key because it's got to try to round around your eyes. And if it's straight, they tend to lift more. So that's the first thing you're going to do, then do your eyes. Got it. Okay, so my eyes are done. I've done my eyes and I put on my lashes. One of the things I wanted to tell you about lashes, like I told you, make sure you form them if they're just right new out of the box. And another thing is when you go to put them on, trim them so they are, they fit your eye. And then when you do the glue, I have two different kinds of glue. I use the Duo and I also use the Kiss. I've heard House of Lash is really good. There's a lot of them, but the things that I really do is I make sure I reinforce the inside and the outside, and you make sure those are tacked down, and then push them all together. Some people use tweezers. I use my fingers because I can control it better. So my eyes are done. Before I did any of my makeup, I did a setting spray. So this is the Mascara Stay Spray. I've had this bottle forever. In fact, I take this big bottle and I pour it into little bottles so I can take it on vacation. But you can use any of them. So this is the one that is done by NYX, just a setting spray. So just make sure you do a setting spray first. Make sure it dries all the way before you start doing your face. And then after I do that, I actually do use a primer for my eye, and I use a really cheap one. You can use any of them. I use the one by e.l.f. and it's just an eye primer, and you don't use very much. It's just so your shadows stay on. So that is in the prep. So the next part is when you are trying to do the foundation of your face. So typically you would take a foundation, put it all over your face, then you do your, some people don't contour, some people do rouge and then be done. I want to accentuate this part of my face, so around my eyes and down around here. So that's what contouring is going to do, and that is, I think that is where a lot of people make mistakes, because you want to lift. So here are your options. There are so many great foundations out there. There's great, like, I mean, I've used a lot of them. I use the mascara 3D foundation, and the reason why is because like I can use like a mixture of like 4 or 5 different colors to match the skin that I have right then, whether I'm tan or I'm like really light. And all of their tins come like this. They come in these little individual tins, and those are like what we call the highlight color. So highlight is AKA foundation. So we usually use 2 different kinds. So we use ones that match all over our face, and then we go through and brighten around that area like I told you before. But there's also great things like I've used the It CC cream, amazing product. I've used Estee Lauder, I've used Lancome, I've used them all, Stila. I still always revert back to this, but I love to play with the other things just to see if they work better. So the first thing that I do, if you can invest in a product, in one product that you're gonna just like use all, it's a good brush. So brushes are because they're gonna think that's what's gonna like smooth. Don't use your fingers because it's gonna absorb all the stuff unless you're doing around your eyes and you wanna get a little bit of heat with it, but otherwise you're gonna need a brush. These are the mascara brushes. I feel like a big commercial, but I love them. And I clean them once a week, and they are amazing. And it just depends on the coverage that you want. But if you're gonna get an all over brush, I'm trying to think of which one I'd pick. I do love, because around your eyes, so if you're gonna do, this is the best blend forever brush. So it has kind of a floofy this end, and then it's got a really particular, like a smaller end. So I would either pick that one, or I actually would pick my Detail Hack. No, 30-second hack, 30-second hack. Because it's got the narrow end and kind of a more dense end to blend. So this is what I would tell you to do, is that whatever color you're gonna use all over, you wanna go and do your color corrections first. So as you can see, I've got this little fun little, I don't know what that is that's cropped up. I've got a lot of age spots right there. I try to get into these marionette lines, and I'll show you how to kind of disguise those so they don't stick out as much. So if you do ever want to be color matched with this, it's important that you do get the color, or if you go to Ulta or Sephora, make sure they're matching your foundation, that you're not just, and that you're actually blending it into skin. And even the skin on your wrist is not gonna be the skin on your face. Like, it's not the same. So make sure that you're getting matched, you know, whether it be summer or winter, because they're gonna be different, obviously. So another thing is, when you are using a foundation or whatever you're using for this layer of your skin, I think that you always want to go light because you're trying to cover your cover, but when you're older, the lighter just accentuates everything that's going on. So you want to do not too much darker, but at least your shade of skin or one a little bit darker. So the first thing I'm going to do, I know I'm a little bit away from there, and this shine just always gets me. I'm like a reflection off my forehead, but okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, and I love having the mirror because then I can see what's like it coming up this. So if I'm looking at here, I'm not ignoring you. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna color correct. And with the color correct, I do like a smaller, like so I can pinpoint what I'm doing. This is the Detail Hack brush, and I just love the end of this side. So I'm gonna go through and just see what I'm gonna fix. So whenever you wanna color correct, the orange tones are gonna help darker, like the dark circles right here. And then the more yellow tones, depending on, I have really olive skin, and I tend to like either yellow or oranges really work, but sometimes you have the green or the lavender undertones. It just depends on what is gonna color correct. But don't use too much product, because when you use too much product, that's when it separates and kind of starts to make that splotchy look. So this is the awesome thing about this, is that I don't use hardly any of the makeup. These tins, like if you'll see this color right here, I've had that forever, because the biggest amount that I'm gonna use is just really like, I'm gonna do this part, and I'm gonna do up here, and then this is gonna be like a lighter color, and then down my nose. So I don't use a ton of color. I'm gonna attach some slides at the very end that's kind of a paint by number, so you can see kind of what goes where, no matter what colors you have. So I'm gonna start doing my color correcting. So I go in, and I'm just gonna kind of go through and just like, kind of like you would anything else, just kind of dotting on where my issues are. And it does look like you're a little bit of a splotchy face, and I don't really like rub it. I kind of like, they call it stippling. I just stipple where I need to get that fixed. And I mean, you guys, 46 years, and every second of it in my teenage years in the sun, I've got some issues to correct. But I don't really blend it right now. I just kind of dot these in is what I need to do. I have an age spot there and up there. I don't know what this new thing is, but I asked my esthetician, she's like, let it just sit for a minute and then we'll look at it. So I don't know what's gonna go on with it. Okay, so I kind of corrected, for the most part, the stuff that I need to correct that's like standing out. Like there might be some hope for these, I don't know. Okay, so the next thing I do is I take that, a little bit of that darker color, and this is so weird, but I puff out this and I go down my marionette line. And it kind of like fills that in so it's not such a big crease. So again, not a ton of product because it's gonna settle in. So you just wanna, where you want to fix like the texture difference and any darkness that you're gonna have. Okay, so I've gone through and I've just kind of touched up my marionette lines right there. And then I try to I push those in like this. Because it helps fill those in. See how that's filled that in? And all I've done is just pushed in like a darker color. They're still there, I promise. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the all over my face. And the brush that I've loved lately is if you have because I don't want it to be super dense, but I want it to do the job. And so there's this brush, and these are like really, one side is smaller, but it's pretty dense. You can see that, and the other side's thicker. I use that like to do this and down here. So I'm gonna do a combination of that, like the color that I just used, and I'll list all my colors, but again, my colors are not gonna be your colors, so make sure someone color matches you. And I can color match you with most of them. I can, it's just sending me a picture. Like no matter what product it is, I can usually color match you, like whether it be mascara, whether it be, you know, Tarte, whether it be CC cream, whatever, CC cream, I usually can match you. It's better if you go into the, like if you go into Ulta or you send me a picture, because then I can see. So the thing I'm gonna do is there's actually a color that I've been using lately that kind of has a little bit of a yellow undertone. It's called Sandy, and this was not what I was color matched when I very first got this makeup, but it's been working for me really, really well. So I'm gonna go through and do that really quick. And again, I'm not like, you don't have to be perfect with your like this original, because you're gonna go through and you're gonna highlight, and I just stay out of my under eyes because I don't want to put too much product under there. Because if you put too much product, then you're gonna, like I said, it separates. So I just kind of go around, and I'm doing it everything but around the eyes and the mug. So I'm just kind of just making this my foundation color. Don't forget your neck. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm just doing what I do every day. I just do my makeup. So I've got it pretty well covered up down here. You can definitely see my eyes are still exposed. They're ready for me to put that lighter color. So I just made sure and gone through, made sure I'm kind of all one color, did all of my color corrections, same. Okay, so I'm all pretty much the same color right here. Now I'm gonna go in and do my eyes. And my eyes, this is where like I wanted everybody to see, this is the part that a lot of people struggle with now. So let me show you some options with eyes. I have a lot of them. So the first option is the L'Oreal Age Rewind Eraser. And it comes with like a foam, like a little foam end, whatever. You don't need very much. You can apply it with the little foam thing, or you can do it with your finger. Another thing, this is Tarte. It's the double duty shape tape. This stuff is like one of the things that when you put the shape tape on and you go to blend it, you've got to be fast because it's going to dry. So that's that one. This is a really like a very, very full coverage. It's got an orange undertone, and sorry, see if you can see that. It's the Tarte CC Under Eye Correction Cream, and I've used this a couple times. It's a little bit greasy, and you only need just a little bit to pat under there, but this one works really, really well, depending on how dark your circles are. And then the Bye Bye Eye, it's the It. This one is really, really good. Again, very full coverage, you don't have to use it very much at all. So whatever you're gonna use for that very first little bit, whether you put it on with your fingers or you put it on with the Beauty Blender, I'm not a brush, like you can put it on initially with the brush just to strike it down, but here is what you need to do. So I'm gonna take one that has kind of like a brush that's right here. So what I'm gonna do when I get the product in here is I'm gonna come down here and then I'm gonna come up here. Don't go too close under the eye because that accentuates the, it doesn't brighten where you need it to be brightened. So you really wanna come down right here and then kind of back up here, but very little product because you're gonna spread that out with either this finger right here or a Beauty Blender. So I'm gonna actually, today I'm gonna stick with, I did get Too Faced, and I'm gonna use that maybe in just a second, but my initial color, I think I'm going to go in with, I think today I'm gonna go in with the CC, the Tarte CC cream, and do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna use my finger, and I don't get very much on my finger at all. So I'm gonna come in, and I barely put any on there because I'm gonna come in and brighten in just a second. I'm just getting that color corrected because I do have those dark circles as everybody saw before. And then when I think it's like pretty well, like I got everything, then I'm going to come in with the Beauty Blender. I'm not trying to be like, it depends on if you're going to a shoot, because when you're doing a shoot with photography, contouring actually, you want to brighten your face, but contouring sometimes goes against you. Your face isn't as bright, and so you need to make your features a little bit darker when you're like doing family pictures or if you're going to a shoot. Okay, see how that kind of blended? I don't want it to be super white around my eyes, but I do want it to make, I want it to make those, the corrections that I need done to take those away. So I've made those like that. They look good. I think I blended when I need to. If there's any other, again, I have a couple areas that still need a little bit of touch up. So I just kind of go through, this product I've had for almost a year. I don't use it hardly at all because you don't need very much. So now that I'm just gonna let those set, and I'm gonna go to my contour. So your contour is gonna go right below your cheekbone so you can feel them. So it starts up here and you just wanna swoop. I don't like a straight line. I kind of swoop this way, but I don't wanna come into my marionette line. So I just come in right here and right here. I use all different kinds of brushes. This brush is angled, so it's kind of narrow to do a contour. Today I'm gonna use my Buffy brush, just because that's the same one that I did my all over face with. But so here's my contours. Believe it or not, this is my contour. It's indigo, and it looks so dark. And you're like, are you really gonna do that? And I'm like, yes, I am. Yes, I am gonna do that. So where I contour is I'm gonna do my right here under my cheeks. I'm gonna do under here, and I'm gonna do up here. I have kind of a narrow forehead, so I don't need to shade as much, but still you just kind of wanna bring that in and shade this, and then I do my nose last. So let's do this first. Again, I have to use my mirror, so sorry. So I'm going right under my cheekbone right here. And I don't worry about blending it right from the get-go because I'm gonna come back in just a second and blend it. So I just come right under here. And again, I'm just kind of dotting, I'm stippling right here because I don't wanna blend it yet. Because I actually layer all my stuff on and then blend it very last. Okay, so I just make sure those kind of match. I'm gonna go up here, I'm gonna do right here. I don't need to shadow a ton. Some people, that's how you're gonna bring that forehead to highlight. So it's just kind of like art. You're just trying to bring that in. You kind of want to make a backwards 3. Okay, and then the last thing we're gonna do is under here. I have a really long face. Like, why such a long face? but I do have a long face, so it's kind of more oval. So I don't really do a ton right there because it's going to be pretty sharp. It's going to make it come to a V. So I just kind of make that come in. I've actually been at a store and my husband's saying, you have a really dark line right there. I'm like, oh, I forgot to blend. Okay, so then I'm actually going to blend this right here. And I'm going to blend up here. So I'm waiting to do this because I'm going to actually add some stuff. So now that I've got my contour right there, I actually add like a kind of a plum color to that, and I just add it with my finger. So I just go along this area right here, and I add just a little bit of plum. And it looks so dark, you guys. I know these are just super pigmented, but it turns out so pretty. So I do that, and then I'm gonna blend that, and then I'll put my like a kind of a cheeky color. So the lip and cheek colors for mascara, they obviously you can use them for your lips and your cheeks. So I just mix and match all my stuff. So I'm just gonna blend it. And this is anything that has a really floofy end. I don't even know if floofy is a word. But see how that's blending really, really nicely? And you don't want any sharp lines. And if you do have sharp lines, that's the beauty of creams, is you go in and clean that up. So okay, so that all is blended. Looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to do my cheek, and this is this is where everyone's just like, oh, you get the shock from the audience, but this I'm going to use this really bright red, and it's called Ruby, and it is so pretty because once you get it blended, it just really makes your cheeks pop. So you want it just on the apple of your cheek. You make that Joker smile. Get that up there. And I actually do this pretty heavy where it almost looks like a clown. And the reason why is when I finish, it's gonna lighten by the time that I blend. So look how it looks so ridiculous. It looks like a clown, and I actually put some on the end of my nose right there. So, got that. I'm actually gonna do. Okay, so now I'm gonna blend it. And with this one, I'm gonna do it more with that floofier end because I want it to kind of stay really good. And I just kind of push it into my contour a little bit. Now I'm gonna go through and touch up those little places that I put the CC cream. Okay, so it still is like, so see how my cheeks are still kind of pretty red? By the time that I do my setting spray, and sometimes I'll do some setting powder in the T-zones, it's gonna, like that is not gonna be as bright. Okay, so I have that done, and now I'm gonna do my nose. Now the contour of the nose is like, a lot of people are scared to contour your nose, and it is like the most forgiving thing that there is because you can just take it off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a really narrow-ended brush. So this is my brush. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it from my eyebrow down here, and just leave a little thin stripe, and I'm gonna take it all the way to the end of my nose. And I'm gonna do that same color that I did before, and it's called Indigo, but any darker one. So like if I was using this, like this little palette right here, which is that, I just use this darker one, like I use this darker one right there. But in my palette of the mascara, I'm using the Indigo. So I have to use this little light, or this little mirror, because I can see what I'm doing better. And sometimes I'll pinch this because it's a little bit more precise. Okay, so see how I've kind of just narrowed that out right there, and I just kind of I blend it in a little bit just so it's not so harsh of a line. You can hear my husband, he's talking on a call. He just swore, so sorry about that. Okay. So then the last thing I'm going to do with that is I'm going to actually take a lighter color It doesn't matter like how light you want to do it. It's like you can use the same highlight color that you went in under your eyes. And I'm just gonna go down the bridge of my nose. I just do it with my finger. And I kind of go up into this area right here. I don't go too far up because I have a really narrow forehead, but if you have a broader, like a bigger forehead, you want to kind of go up and highlight that right there. And then I'm just gonna brush that out. And then some people, sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't, but they'll go above their eyebrows with a highlighter too. They'll take this and go above their, right there. And they'll come down here, go through this, and come down here. Because you're trying to brighten all these areas right there. So then they just take the other end, blend it in. Okay, so that is about what my finished look looks like. And then what I'm gonna do to finish it up is I'm gonna take some setting spray, and you just spray that all over your face, let it set, wait for just a second. And then if you do not want the glowy look, then you'll take in, here's the next trick. Some people set their eyes underneath their eyes and let that bake. It's fine, but as long as you have a really light setting powder. I know that a lot of makeup artists or mascara artists use Coty Airspun, too thick for the older people because it's gonna settle in. So mine is, I use a difference of two. This is a little bit darker. I use the MAC, and this is super light setting spray. And I also use just e.l.f. translucent, any translucent powder that's really light and packed in there. They're not gonna set, and what you're gonna do after you spray, you're gonna take either a kabuki brush or a light set, and you're gonna set under the eyes, set down the T-zone, and then the final thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna take this highlight, take a highlight, this little shiny guy, and you're gonna go up this side, down the bridge of your nose, and right there. And the reason why I'm not doing it right this second is because I'm gonna go in and fix one of my eyeshadows, and then I'll show you a finished look. So hopefully that helps.